And boom, we live. What's up?
Boom.
How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great.
Yeah, I'm feeling super excited, bro.
I'm feeling amazing.
I feel like we've been pumped up about this show because we've been talking back and forth, and we don't get too much into it because I'm like, yo, bro, save it for the show. Save it for the show. But there's so much shit, well, whatever. So much shit happening all around us. And there's so much to talk about tonight. And we you know what? Without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get ready. You guys go ahead and get this video cheered up. It's about to go down. We'll be right back with a phenomenal show. You ready, Donnie?
Oh, I'm ready.
Boom.
Woo.
That's in the building with us tonight, Ashley V. You know what? Let's not even waste no more time, man. I just got to say, we're going to get Ashley up in here on the mic, and we're going to go all the way in. You guys get ready. Get your fingers stretched out so you can, leave some comments and join the conversation. Ashley V, somebody I've been following for quite a bit of time. I will say that she is one of my top internet personalities, but she be talking that real shit. So that's why I want to get on the show. But let's go ahead and get Ashley in the building. Here we go.
Hey.
In the house. Let's go. So, Ashley, you want to introduce yourself to the people? Tell them a little bit about you. Yeah, the floor is yours.
All right. So I'm Ashley V, owner of Ascension Next, ascensionnxt.com. And I am a spiritual coach, teacher, and mentor. So I help people work with their psychic intuitive abilities. I connect a lot with the other worlds in all different ways. And I'm also here to help motivate people and connect them to their purpose work, which your purpose work is what feels fulfilling, and it's basically like living your dream life. So it could be anything. It's what your soul aligns with, and that's what I teach people how to do.
Awesome.
Okay. So I got to start here then, because with the type of work that you do, obviously 2020 by itself, and I have my own ideas on why this might have been, which we'll dive into a little bit later. But what did you experience working with people, especially because you work in energy?
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine how crazy it must have been. Like, what did you experience? What did you see people going through? And then, how did you walk them through that?
Well, I mean, 2020 was hard for me. When was the last time I was on your show? Was I on in 2020? Was it the end of 2019?
It was the end of 2019. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Was
so 2020, the beginning of the year was rough. So I had like a shamanic death, so to say, in the beginning of the year, which is like it's kind of like another awakening that you go through. So when you're already awakened and you're already spiritually connected, you go up in levels. So I had something happen to me in the beginning of 2020 where I was going through a healing modality, and then I connected with somebody. They were working on me, and the work that they did not align, and it made me kind of spiral really bad, and I went into like a whole rebirthing process. So that was before COVID hit. So I was already kind of like a mess before COVID hit. I was going through this whole like breaking myself down. And, when you go through shamanic death, it takes a toll on you mentally and emotionally. It's like you're losing the old aspect of yourself to bring in something new. So you kind of go through a lot mentally. Like, you don't know who you are. Like, you're like redoing all of that, and a lot of people know me. They know that I am very confident in who I am. I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going, all of that. And then COVID hit. And then I was like on the verge of like, okay, I know what I'm doing. And then COVID hit. So it was like really crazy for the first 6 months. So I was like doing a lot of work on myself. And then when I was able to, I was working with clients, and it was just all fear. Like, even I had to pull away from tapping into the collective. So, you started following me because you saw my ABC readings, the pick a card readings that I used to do all the time.
You picked the card for me, and I was like, how does she know that?
Yeah. So when I do that, I tap into the energy of the collective, which is just the world in general, to read. And I had to stop doing that in 2020 because the energy there was so much static.
Mm. Now, can I ask you a question about energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, not so much about energy, but just kind of like when it comes to 2020,
Mm-hmm.
here's my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like 2020, for me personally, I got some crazy downloads in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the as a whole we were supposed to get certain downloads.
Mm-hmm.
All of this fear and all of this confusion and all these different things were designed to keep people from receiving these downloads.
I agree. Yeah. 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know for myself personally, like the downloads I got changed everything. Like it was like a paradigm shift. You know what I mean? I never heard the terminology that you use, shamanic death. I've never heard that before. But would that be similar to like a snake shedding its skin and then getting new skin? Is that like an analogy that you?
Yeah, I mean, but it's literally like, I would say it's more connected to the phoenix dying and rising from the ashes.
Okay.
That it's like people end up in like mental institutions when they're having shamanic deaths. Like it's that serious. So if I didn't have the support that I had around me, like luckily one of my good friends is a shaman, so she helped me get through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it's deep. It's fucking deep. Like the work that you do, and now like my ability is like 10 times what it was. You know, so like the last half of 2020 was great. I mean, there was so much that shifted for me, so much that came in. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that COVID had to happen in 2020 for a lot of people to wake up. So a lot of people woke up during COVID. That was something that I noticed. There was also a lot of people I feel like that were awake and kind of fell back asleep, like fell back into the mundane and into that, like they thought they were awake, they thought they were connected, but then they felt, because the fear got them and threw them right back into the 3D.
Now, how dangerous is, now this is gonna, for people that don't understand, they'll understand through your explanation, but let me ask you this. Someone such as myself, someone such as you, someone such as Donnie, someone such as my friend Wob that's watching, there's a lot of people, like you said, that I know that are awake. You know what I mean? They have a heightened sense of awareness. They're in tune with everything that's around them. How dangerous is this this woke culture?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, how dangerous are they to the individuals that are actually awake and aware? It's like cool to be woke, but it's like these woke individuals are the furthest thing from someone who actually has awareness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like people that are woke, like they think that they're woke, they're just following. It's more of a trend. So I noticed that with Ascension Next in the shop. I'm in between spaces right now, so I don't have my old space. I'm actually looking for a new space. But when the shop was open and people would come in, I could tell right off the bat whether they really like wanted spiritual development, or they just wanted crystals because it was cool. You know what I mean? Or they wanted the sage because they thought the sage was going to fix things. And like that, and to me, I use that term too, like the woke people, to me, a lot of them are like spiritual basic bitches. Like that's what I call them. They have the crystals, they have the sage, they wear the shirts that say namaste, but are they really going to do the internal work? You know, that's the question, is like, are you really going to dive deep within yourself and honor the truth within yourself? Like go through the shamanic death. You know what I mean? Like burn your old self to the ground. I feel like with this whole woke stuff, it's just another way to control people. So it's a way to like kind of like give people a quick fix of like, oh, this thing will fix you and this will fix you and this will fix you. And, you know, if you go join a spiritual group, you're fixed. That's the danger in it, is you're not doing the real work. So that's why I transitioned more into coaching in 2019, because I was so sick of it. I was so sick of people coming in and getting a reading from me and then thinking like, I'm going to fix you.
Yeah.
I'm not here to fix people.
Gotcha.
You know, like nobody is here to fix you. You need to do that yourself. Like if you feel like you're broken inside, that's when you need to do the healing work. And, you know, I see that a lot with people like searching for relationships. It's like they just go from one relationship to another relationship. And they're like, I don't understand why this keeps happening to me. It's because you're not doing the work. Like you shouldn't be leaving a relationship and then jumping right into another one. Like very, very rarely do I think that's healthy. Depends on the connection between the souls and like where you're at in your development.
Yep.
But that's why a lot of people have a lot of relationship issues, because they're just piling on other people's energy in their system and they're not releasing what they need to release. It's actually really dangerous, especially in this time. So I feel like after 2020, we went through a huge shift on the planet where it's like, okay, either you're going to wake up or you're not. There's really no in between anymore. And, you know, if you're really awake and you notice that, like by talking to people, it's like, yeah, you're not awake at all. Like I can't even like have a conversation with you. So I'm just going to go over here.
Yeah. For a little while, it was almost like, how don't you see this? I'm trying to, like, you try to like have the, but it's like, you know what? Now it's like, if you're going to get it, you're going to get it. Like, you know what I mean? There's nothing that someone's going to say to you. Like, I guess at that moment, you'll pop up. But you said something interesting I want to touch on. But let's catch up on some of the comments. Wob said, real, recognize real, spiritual growth, personal. You have to do the inner work. Exactly. I want to touch on something when it comes to, just because you said a lot of people are hopping from relationship to relationship. I saw something online today with Taylor Swift. Oh, I guess there's like some there's some Netflix show where they made a joke and they said, "Oh, you're hopping from guy to guy more than Taylor Swift."
That's been a joke since day one with her.
Exactly. But the article said, "Oh, you know what? That's sexist, and you're shaming her, and like all these different things." Number one, I'm not even saying this towards a female perspective, because I believe that females and males have to be careful with the exchanges that we have.
I 100% agree.
Like everybody's just doing everybody, and they don't understand that there's spiritual, what's the word I'm looking for?
It is attached. People have attachments and parasites, and you take that on when you have sex.
Oh my God. I was just telling somebody that the other day, like, oh, when you have sex with someone, not only does their DNA stay inside of you, but you're exchanging energy signatures.
Oh my God. Like so
they're maniacs because they got 20 people inside of them. Like, you know what I mean? But, like, I know that sounds weird, but yeah.
No, it's true.
It's true. So
I never thought about it like that. Like that never clicked in my head.
Yeah, like how do we as a society, would you say, or does this ever cross your mind? How do we get to a place where we can actually be accountable? Because now it's almost like, hey guys, do whatever you want. And if anybody says anything to you, not only sexually, relationship wise, but anything, you know what I mean? Like, hey, just be free, do what you want. And if anybody says anything to you, they hate you. Like, it's hate. We're going to cancel them. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, how do you become more accountable? Is that the question you're asking? Or just like
as a society, how do we get back to a place?
Oh, accountability. I mean, that's the problem, is like everyone's so fucking offended by everything. How are you going to be accountable when you're offended by it? Everything's mean. And, you know, that's why I show up and I don't give a shit. I just say whatever I want in my post, because I don't want people with the victim mentality following me. So right away I trigger. I'm like, if you're getting mad about what I'm saying, you shouldn't be following me at all, because I'm not here for people that want someone to coddle them. You know, I feel like our whole society has been becoming coddling, and you need to be respectful of everyone. And like, yeah, you do need to be respectful of everyone. Everyone needs to go on their own journey and live their own life. But there's no moral code anymore with people. I realized it's just like anything goes and everything is just accepted just because, but there's no reason behind it. So like when you ask someone, well, give me a reason why you believe that, they don't even know. And that's, again, that's just blindly following. I feel like that it's done purposely to just, with, you know, with males and females, just go have sex and like all these dating apps. Like I have friends that are on dating apps. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you do it. Like, so I left my fiance in July of last year, and I have not talked to anybody since. And I don't want to right now.
Because you're working on you.
I don't want to. I do not have room in my life for a relationship.
Yep.
And when I am ready, they need to be somebody that is at my level. It has to be a partnership, and they need to be somebody that is on the same level as me. So
yeah,
gotcha. So Donnie, see, because I'm right now, I got Ashley V in the building, so I'm just going back and forth with her. Donnie, Donnie's just gonna sit there. He won't say
I'm
nothing.
actually curious. So going back to when you first started talking, you said that there's a lot of posers about like buying crystals and stuff like that. Did that spike at the beginning of the beginning of the pandemic? So
no. I feel like that was like. So I opened my business in 2014, and I started seeing a spike around like 2016, 2017.
Yep.
More people coming in, and I just think because it got like, I know the Kardashians started talking about it.
Yeah, so it just became like a popular item at that point.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. I wasn't sure if like people started like trying to find other ways to cope with things. So if they tried to like buy certain items to think that it would work without doing the work, like you said.
I didn't recognize the difference in 2020. You know.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
What energies? Because I know you tap into energies. I know you said you had to unplug for a little bit because of all the shit that was going on. But I have to ask, with everything that's happening on this earth right now, what energies are here? Like what? Like, you know what I mean? What energies are here? Who's running?
That's a good question. All right. So, I've been talking like a lot about this with my private clients lately. I haven't been on social media as much because I've been in my private containers a lot, teaching and just showing up for them. But, what I realized in 2020 is, astral realm was very separated. Like there was like layers for a long time. So when you tap in, it was like easy to tell what you're communicating with. Well, now there's this AI energy that is integrating with the astral realm, and it's pretending to be things that it's not. So when you're really tapped in, you can see and you can feel that it's like a false energy trying to be something else. That is my main concern right now with tapping in, is that discernment is like on an all-time high. And if you're tapping in, so like, and this is why it's dangerous to be the spiritual basic bitch. I try to tell people this. It's like, you don't know what you're talking to. You don't know what you're connecting to. So if you're like, just, a lot of people fuck around with everything. That's the problem, is they just dabble in whatever is like, oh, this person said this and this person said this. And like, it's like, no, you don't understand. Like, so there's this AI energy that's out there. Where it comes from, I don't know exactly, but there's a lot of speculation that it's coming from Atlantis. So there's a lot of old Atlantis energy emerging. And like when I tap into that, and a lot of my friends who do this work, because I have a close inner circle of people that I work with, and we just share what we're connecting with. Atlantis didn't end very well.
Yeah.
Most people know that Atlantis didn't end very well. It was overrun by dark magic from, a lot of people say, reptilians. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Len Kasten, the book Alien World Order.
Actually, yeah, you told me about that book, and I did purchase the book.
Did you read it yet?
I did not get through it yet, but there is a book that I have to mention based on what you're talking about. But I'll let you finish your thought, and then I want to ask you if you've ever read this book.
Okay, so what's happening, I noticed, is... So in the book, he talks about how basically there was, and I may have mentioned this in your other podcast, but that's okay. I'll say it again.
Yeah.
I say this all the time because I really think that this is like some real shit right here. The reptilians and the humanoids, which are ETs like us, they were fighting on Earth, and then basically the humanoids won. The reptilians went underground.
Okay.
And what the reptilians are really great at is going into the fourth dimension and manipulating the. So essentially, we're in the 3D right now, even though we're shifting to 5D. But in the fourth dimension, that's kind of the dimension where like everything goes, and it's not like a lot of great energy there. So what they're really good at is manipulating energies and creating them in the fourth dimension, and then they were going into Atlantis and manipulating the magicians, and then creating dark magic in their mind, and then that was being created in Atlantis. So like that's essentially how Atlantis ended, was like just a lot of dark magic that took over. And what I was getting from when I was meditating one day and connecting, I was like, so it's kind of all just seeping up and coming out because we never healed it. We never cleared it. That's how everything works. So when you get a healing, like when you go in and you receive an energy healing from like a Reiki practitioner, whatever you're doing, this is very common. What happens is whatever you're ready to release comes up. So if it's anger, if it's grief, it's depression, it comes out, and it comes out of the energy field, and then we remove it. But then you still have to deal with that. This is what I'm saying with, like, you know, I don't fix you. I basically guide you, but you go home and you finish doing the work. So that energy is still in your field until you become aware of, like, okay, I need to stop being so angry about X. I need to heal my grief with X. I need to release my depression or channel my depression into something different. You know, so that's what's happening on the planet, is this energy is seeping up, and we need to learn how to deal with it. The only way humans are going to learn how to dealing dark old, and this is like ancient magic, like this is old magic, it's very advanced, is that we need to learn discernment.
The reason why I'm shaking my head over here and is because this is I don't even know if you ever read this, but if you didn't, it's my turn to go ahead and recommend a book to you.
Okay.
But no, you have I think that you know about this. Do you know about the Emerald Tablets?
I've heard of them, yes.
Of them. Okay, so everything that you just said right now is in the Emerald Tablets.
Really?
Yes, the Emerald Tablets is the craziest, most profound thing I've ever read in my entire life, and I've done a lot.
That was the book you talked about last time, right?
That book. Put it this way. The book was so crazy. I had different things happen while I was reading it, and sometimes I had to put the book away because it was getting like too. You know what I mean? But basically, what it is it's supposed to be a first-hand account of Thoth, like the Egyptian, he's the one who they said they built the pyramids. He came from Atlantis. He brought knowledge from Atlantis. He basically was one of the higher ups in Atlantis that came into Egypt to forward the knowledge to that group of people. But he considered himself to descend. Well, he says we all come from the children of light, but we're incarnated into the children of men, which is obviously this physical form. But there's a lot of things in that book that are basic. It's almost like you just read from the book.
Really?
Yeah, as I'm listening to you speak. So I'll send you a link to it.
Okay, yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So I want to bring this up. I'm only bringing this up because you said something about the reptilians. So I'm chilling, I'm bored. When I'm bored, I go on YouTube. I'm like, something came up. It was like, hey, you know what? Ancient Christian churches in Ethiopia. I'm like, all right, let me check it out. Right. So I'm watching it, chilling, minding my business, right? And why is there a damn ancient painting of a reptilian with a sword, and they're just carrying on the program like that shit's not right there? Like, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, these are beautiful paintings, and they're just talking, and I'm like, yo, what is that? Like, you know what I mean? I took a picture of the shit because I knew he was coming on the show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send it to Donnie right now. Donnie, you put it on the screen. I've been showing it to people like, yo, tell me that's not a damn reptilian. They're like, come on, bro. But I'm like, yo, I'm telling you, when you see it, there's no way that it's not. But yeah, it's funny that you said they went underground because I was watching something else. I think it was Ancient Aliens, and they was talking about how certain reptilian species have came up at certain points throughout history when there was like natural disasters. And certain tribes say that they brought them underground until whatever happened passed, and then brought them back to the surface. And they've been spotted like in certain areas. So it was weird that you brought that up. But I'm gonna send Donnie this picture, and then you guys tell me that I'm gonna send you two different pictures, Donnie.
All right.
And you're gonna see your boy, the reptilian, just hanging out like it's nobody's business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they do that anyways. Just nobody cares because nobody believes it. So,
but I'm so interested in this artificial in this AI energy that you're talking about. So is it the actual AI that we have here on the planet? Because they're trying to create this intelligence with it having a sense of awareness. Because one of the things I saw is that they had these two AI systems. I think it was Facebook and Google. And this happened actually a while ago. They had to shut it down because they created their own language and started communicating with each other. Like without any human intervention. So they shut the fucking program down. You know what I mean?
I don't know what it is. I just know that it's very like it understands, like it knows how to like be a fake spirit guide or whatever the fuck, you know, could pretend to be your grandmother that passed away.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm. The thing that I noticed when but like this is the thing, this is why you need to know about your ability is like when I connected with it, because at first I was like, okay, well, I don't really know what this is. And then my friend, who's more empathic, was like, it's making me nauseous. She goes, I think it's fake.
Yep.
Looking at that.
Let's see if we can spot the reptilian.
Right here on the bottom, right?
Right, chilling right there with a sword and everything. And they just like, there's a regular horse, regular lion, but what is this guy? What's he doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Reptilian.
So it's like, I don't know how they just, I guess I know how, because
it looks like it's coming from up under the ground.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. That is weird. When I saw that, I was like, yo, I got to save that because
it
hit me instantly. I'm like, how are they just having a regular program and nobody's asking about that guy on the bottom? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I studied art history in college for a little while just because I wanted to see what was in the pictures. Like, I was just like, I want to see if there's alien shit. And there was so much alien people in ancient Egypt. And like, it was crazy. Even during medieval times, the women would pluck their hair and pull their hairline back. Like, that was seen as a sign of like, you know, being
a lot of tribes would babies' heads and stuff to make the skull elongated.
Yeah, that's an alien. That's like an alien trait, you know.
Yep. And even the people with the rings on their neck, like the elongated neck, that shit. All right, so then let's have this conversation. Yo, the aliens are coming. Disclosure's coming. But is it real disclosure or is this?
God, I don't know. I'm concerned about that too. Like what information we're gonna get, what they're gonna feed us.
Because from what somebody, I was having a conversation with somebody, and they were like, "Oh, based on information that they got, don't know where they got it from, but they were saying like, oh, they're gonna fake some sort of alien encounter or attack. You know what I mean? To like, obviously.
Well, I think we were talking about that at one point. How we heard about that.
Yeah, actually, we had a conversation about it also.
Yeah, how they're gonna fake it to make it seem like they're gonna come out with it, and then it's weird. Because Canada already said that they announced that they have them and they're living among us already. And
really,
I actually saw that. I saw that article.
I don't know how true that. Like, I don't know who in Canada came up with those facts. I don't know if it's just a person or if it's actually like the government or whatever. But I know our government's been showing a lot more evidence and they're leaking a lot more stuff. I don't know how true it is, but
find something where he said that there needs to be disclosure in 180 days or something.
Yeah, the new COVID relief bill that
what day are we on right now?
I don't even know. It's supposed to be June. That is up. Right. But yeah, they said they had 180 days to disclose whatever information that they had on, UFOs and the UFO phenomenon and things of that nature. Kind of weird to me that it was in a COVID bill, but well,
there was a lot of weird things in that COVID bill. So
I feel like some shit where it went down because. When did he sign that COVID bill? Before he left?
No, actually, that bill that the 180 days was inside of, that was actually the bill. I think it was actually, did he sign that? Or did it get signed by Biden?
Trump signed it. Right? We didn't. I don't think we had a stimulus package since Trump was in yet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Biden's working on it.
Since Biden was in, yeah.
Okay.
So it had to have been the last one, the 600 we got from Trump.
Mm-hmm. So that was the last. Well, that's when I thought he signed that right before like in January before he left.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think you're right.
The second payout, like a little bit after that. So yeah, I think that was.
I know somebody sent me something about someone in Jerusalem was saying, a scientist, about how Trump worked with the Galactic Federation of Light, and
he said that he knows like that they're here, and he's been with them. He knows all the different.
I think that was Israel Space something. Yeah, that came out and said that Trump knows everything. It's kind of funny because after he went over for that visit over there before everything happened, that's when he came back and made the Space Force. Yeah, he ordered the Space Force, and so it's kind of like there's ties being made, but it's like no, there's a lot of gap in between that we can't pinpoint. Like
because I think
exactly
I think that there's deals going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, because a lot of people said that he was not going to leave and that he was going to people were saying that he was going to arrest Biden at the inauguration and all this shit was going to go down.
Yeah.
And I feel that there were deals made behind the scenes.
Oh, 100%. I believe
that whole situation and what's going on now. Like, there's definitely games being played that we have no clue what's going on.
Yep.
Sure.
And I think a lot of it has to do with aliens. I think that aliens I really think they're involved in everything right now.
It's definitely a huge topic. It's getting crazy because now it's going into stimulus package. So there's definitely something out there. Nobody would put it in a stimulus package if there wasn't actually belief.
The Pentagon has said, like, hey, you know what? This is a real phenomenon. Like, you know what I mean? Before it was like, if you said something about a UFO, they'll be like, oh, this guy's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? That was like, it's actual, like, conversation. Like, people
can you imagine the people in like Nevada now that everybody thought they were crazy for all these years, and now they're just like, oh yeah, I think there is something. And now they're like, see, like what the?
I mean, I've seen UFOs before. I've experiences. I mean, I don't know how people don't believe that there's other life.
Well, I can say I didn't believe at first, but now that all this new evidence is coming through, I have to like be on the fence. Like, I'm always going to be like, I don't know how, but now it's like,
how do you, well, let me ask you this. Why do you say you don't know how?
Well, it's like at this point, I'm starting to really believe. So like my thoughts of not being there is like kind of weird. I saw an image the other day that our solar system is like, it moves. Like in my head, I just thought like, oh, we're stationary and everything just moves around everything. So I saw an image the other day that like, as everything spins around the sun, it's moving through space. So I was like, it kind of freaked me out because I'm like, you never know what you're going to come upon. So it was like, like what could come at you? Like what could we enter? Like how do we defend ourselves? Because technically we can't even really get to Mars. And how are we supposed to defend our solar system from entering something that we can't? So I was like, not like panic mode, but I was like, damn, like we're really like vulnerable. And then it's like, well, if we could survive, how come somebody else can't survive? And if we can, like, if we're moving, they're moving. And what if we cross paths? So obviously there's the thought of something else being out there became very real. So then when you hear like, oh, we saw this thing flying through our, like, we have little technology compared to what could be out there.
Oh yeah. Like,
so I'm like, all right, I can see how this happens now.
Like we're so advanced. Like I hear when people say we have advanced technology. It's like the shit that's been on this planet in ancient civilizations farly surpasses the technology.
God, yeah.
This is what I was telling somebody the other day. It's like we have technology, but we have artificial technology rather than in natural, or technology in nature is way more far advanced than any computer chip or anything like that could be. You know what I mean? We just don't have that connection with it. You know what I mean?
I think our huge problem right now is that we're putting our technology into the wrong areas. We come out with a new iPhone every single year. We come out with a smaller, better, faster internet. We could be putting that use into like greater research. And like, if we can design a cell phone to run off of a battery that lasts me a day and a half, why can't we get to Mars yet? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why haven't we got there? I feel like when, like back in the day where like TVs came out and then like it all like boomed from there, like better cars, faster cars, greater technology. And then we came to like a slow period right now. Like, we're just kind of like we're increasing what we already have. We're not building on.
Well, I think that's done purposely. I mean, I was watching the movie The Patriot the other day with my friend, with Mel Gibson, and I'm like, this is only like 200-300 years ago, like not a long time ago.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like we had like a boom of technology and then it just stopped. Like, what happened?
I think the people caught up with the technology.
Right.
So they slow it down, because think about it, the computer came out 50-60 years before it became available to the average citizen.
Yeah.
So they always want to be ahead on the technology before we get it. And with how people are mastering technology right now, they had to pump the brakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's catch up on some of these comments, because we actually got a shitload of comments as we were going. I believe this is one of your people, Jenny Lynn. She said, "You tell him, Ashley V." My mom said, "Amen." That's how I feel. I don't know what that, because I'm catching up. My boy Rob said the Palladians. Blake said, "How do you identify energy?" Which we got to come back to that, because there's something I want to talk about in concerns to that. Oh shit, Ashley, Egypt. LOL, connected. That was Deanna La Miguel. You know who that is? And Wob, he said Hollywood brought them back. He's talking about the aliens. Hey, let's dive into energy real quick. I know we've been talking about energy, but in a different sense. So I want
real quick. Ashley, on the bottom of the screen, you can see the comment thing. You can click that and view all the comments.
Oh yeah, just so you can. Oh yeah, thank you.
So she can. Yeah, no problem.
Thing? Is that
the little chat thing. Yeah, if you click that, you'll read all the comments.
It's not working. Oh, there it is. Oh, okay, cool.
So you can stay with us.
Okay.
So I'm going to start this off very small and silly, but then there's a deep conversation I think that got to be connected to it, right? Mr. Potato Head.
I didn't know he would just.
I don't want to block the show. You know what I mean? I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful.
Allegedly.
And now, like, I want to let me put a disclaimer on this conversation. This is in no way a hateful conversation. This is conversation, right? And I feel as though if we're talking in the realms of equality for any group, then they can't be excluded from conversation, right? You know what I mean? It can't be like, yeah, equality for these people, but we can't talk about them. Like, you know what I mean? So I think conversation is healthy. But obviously, Potato Head came out. They want to snatch the Mister from him, even though he's been a Mister for so many years. What's going on with all of this stuff? I know that's a big and a vague question, but it seems to me there's some wicked intention behind pushing the concept of sexuality or gender identification onto children. And I feel as though that's tied into some end goal, the same way all of this confusion about blurring the lines with everything. You know what I mean? Nothing is concrete. It's just like anything could be whatever you want. How do we, like, I don't know. I don't even know what the question is, but what's up with that?
I have theories on that stuff. First of all, I think it's all distraction. I think the more labels they create, the more we get confused and the more we separate. So that's number one.
That's a good point. I like the way that was said.
I mean, I am so fuck the labels that it's not even funny. I don't even give a fuck what nationality you are. Like, I don't care. I lead by energy. You can call yourself whatever the fuck you want, but like, I ain't about that life. Because that is number one rule for separation. Give everyone a fucking label. Because once you give them a label and you're in this group and you're for these rights and you're doing this, you're in a box.
Yeah.
And then you can't grow. Because once you get in that box, then you have to go by all those rules. That will keep you from growing, because then you can't admit certain things to yourself, because that's not allowed in that group. That's not allowed with that label. So that's number one. Number two, with a lot of the gender and the sexual stuff that has to do with, and I don't, I'm not against gay, transgender, anything like that. I feel like whatever you really feel like you resonate with, you need to go for that in your life. But with the bringing it into the children's life, and a lot of that is the Luciferian cults. It's just like everything is backwards. Everything is against God. Everything is out of flow and away from the divine. So like when you study that cult and what they believe in, everything is ass backwards, and nothing makes any sense, because they're a death cult. So, and like I feel like what they want to do is like, I feel like one of the first things they were doing is like kind of killing the libido, like, through what they're putting in our food and all of that. People aren't having kids as much because of their, what's going on in our bodies. Yeah. So that's like one thing. And then the other thing is too, it's kind of, it's disconnecting people from, I feel like it's a confusion thing. It's to make kids confused and wondering what they are, and like questioning like constantly their sexuality. And have you ever read anything about the Luciferian cult and what they
I personally haven't, no.
I've come across a few different things. Just by, like, this is gonna sound weird, but it's not weird. I do I like research. So like sometimes if something pops up and it's like something about the occult or something, I'll watch it because I want to know, like, what are these people about? What are they doing? Like, you know what I mean? What do they believe in? And it's so obvious that it's a part of the culture. You know what I mean? Like when
They want to
you know,
sexualize kids.
yeah.
I mean, that's what it really comes down to. Is they thrive off of the energy of children for a sexual manner. So I feel like that's part of that whole movement, is to get the parents on board. What's an easy way to get the parents on board? Will make them feel guilty if they don't, you know, believe that their kids should have this kind of freedom and that these people aren't welcomed in their community. I feel like it's a way of like forming guilt on them. And I also think it's kind of like a confusion thing as well. Like, it's like, you know, at a young age, you don't know what you are. Like, you know, I'm 35, like I'm still figuring shit out. Like, how can we put something that serious on kids? Like, that is.
And what's the age group for Mr. Potato Head? Like, it's not that old. It's,
I mean, you're like fucking 4 years old, and
that's what I'm saying. It's like 1 to 4. Like, it's
like the motherfucker don't even come put together. It's just it's a plain potato.
Okay, let's put it this way. Like, you could put the hat on, you could put the mustache on. There's no genitals.
Exactly.
Well, I think it's too, the other big thing that I've been channeling a lot lately is about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, how we need both in order to really connect to our energies in a higher form. So they're already trying to emasculate men in society. Like, you know, we lived on this planet for a long time with the male energy being dominant. Now it's like, okay, let's switch over and make the feminine energy dominant, which when feminine energy is like not in alignment, it's all over the place. It's just kind of like nothing really makes sense. It's like no rules, no stability, no structure. And that's kind of what they're trying to go for, to create the confusion. And that's what I feel with the Luciferian cult, when we need balance of both. So we need more structure. We need more stability. That's the masculine. We need like taking action. That's another thing, is like, you know, the sense of entitlement that's taking away from divine masculine within us, is I don't need to work for that. I'm entitled to have that because this happened to me and blah, 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 blah. That's like the total opposite. So it's always the opposite of what is in alignment and how to create our growth. Like, that's just how I know like what they're trying to do. And I just kind of roll my eyes and I don't like fall into it. I just kind of teach people from a different angle, not even really talking about those things that they're putting out. So I feel like the big thing with the Mr. Potato Head and the gender thing is like, they want to take away gender because essentially people won't connect with, we all have feminine energy and we all have masculine energy in us. And it needs to be balanced in order for us to really get to a high spiritual awareness, a high connection. Like, you can't do real psychic or intuitive work if you don't have either, because what the masculine does is it helps you create boundaries and it helps with discernment. So like, discernment was like, when we were in ceremony the other night, we were like, that thing is not real. That's a fucking AI. That's us using our masculine, but the feminine is tapping in.
Got you.
Yeah.
Wap said balancing your male and female energy to become one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so they're trying to take that away. They're trying to make that look like both are bad. Like, there's no male, there's no female. That's not real, you know?
Yeah.
But essentially, because the Luciferian, our death cult, it's going to lower your frequency. You're going to be out of alignment. And then in turn, that makes you sick because you're constantly questioning. So they want these kids to grow up questioning those two energies all the time.
Yep.
Staying out of alignment. Everything that they do always results back into death. They're obsessed with death and murder. So you think the opposite is life. The opposite is growth. They don't want us to have that. I do have these slides that somebody gave me about their cult, and I'll give them, it's like 40 slides, and whoever put this together did it really well, and it explains a lot about what they do, and you know, even the satanic rituals and all of that.
Now, let me ask you this, right? Because obviously we're talking about, you know, the satanic people and things that they're in, and obviously they believe in death, and everything they do is geared towards reversing life, like having people move in the opposite direction against God and divine energy. But let me ask you this: like, I have to. Here's one thing I always wondered: why doesn't? Well, actually, let me not say that. well, let me say it like that because that's the only way I know how to say it right now. But why doesn't the divine energy just come through and stomp out the the other energy?
That's a good question.
Or is it needed? Is it yin and yang? Like, is there always going to be? Is there supposed to be a balance of the dark and light, or is the dark just running rancid right now in the time that we're in? You know
I
what
feel like the dark right now is like playing, like they're playing games. You know what I mean? Like everything right now is being played out. But as far as like, you know, the first question you asked, like, why doesn't the divine just come in and stomp out the dark? Because we're here to learn. Like we come and incarnate in these bodies to learn spiritual growth. So a lot of the stuff that I've studied has said that, you know, there's souls that are like dying to come to this planet and they're not allowed because they're not advanced yet. So really think about that and the people that you've met in this lifetime and they're incarnated as a human and you're like, damn, they're fucking dumb. You know what I mean? Like they're advanced in a way because they're in a human body.
Gotcha.
So, you know, when your soul goes to this frequency in this matrix that is created, it's to learn. Like your soul is taking all of these lessons and putting it in your Akashic records and learning from it. And it's actually a beautiful experience for the dark to be around. Also, too, we're in the process of ascension right now. I mean, you know, I don't think like this every day. I look at some of the shit they do and I'm like, what the fuck? You know? Yeah. But I like trying to look at it from a higher perspective. I forgot what I was going to say. Shit.
You were talking about the Akashic record and we're moving towards
ascension. Yeah. Yep. So what humans are doing right now is we're learning to integrate the light and the divine into our physical bodies and then into our energy bodies while we're engulfed in the darkness. That's like what we came here to learn. So,
and now I got to ask this because we were talking about the Emerald Tablets earlier, and I've seen this in other places, and I'm pretty sure you've seen this. And one of the lessons that he was teaching in there was that, we're here, we're incarnated in these bodies, but until we're spiritually ready, we don't get to leave this life. Like, so when we die, if we're not spiritually mature enough or pure enough to go to the next plane of existence, we have to do this shit all over again.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. You know, I believe that to an extent. I know that I've been in other lives though. I've incarnated in like other life, like beyond this planet. So yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the soul's development.
Okay.
It could be one of those things too, because a lot of people say that when you incarnate on Earth, it's kind of like you sign that contract to stay here until you fulfill your work. So until you fulfill your purpose work, your divine work, you may have to come back and repeat.
It's like you don't pass the test, you got to take the fourth again.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm always in school.
Donnie, you're gonna keep staying back, bro. You're gonna keep staying back.
Jesus.
So we do got a request about something that I definitely would love to touch on. You did talk about the 3D, and obviously we're in the 3D right now. We're in this what I would say is simulation, right? Because what we're witnessing as life isn't natural; it's been simulated for us. When you talk about ascension, you said the next ascension point isn't the 4D; it's the 5D. For those who don't know, what is the 5D?
So a 5D is just living in a different reality where the frequencies are higher. And like right now I'm in the 5D a lot and then I go into the 3D. So like that's what we're learning. We're adjusting to that where it's kind of like instant manifestation. Everything is in flow. Abundance is there. You have beautiful relationships. Like everything in the 5D just flows and connects. But the only way that you can get there is by being true to you. So people that are having a hard time with being true to themselves can't connect to the 5D easily. They have to go through the lessons. They have to release the trauma. Hence, like we were talking about, like the shitty relationships. Like if you're constantly like looking for somebody else to fix you in some way, you're not. You're just staying in the 3D. The 5D is being in that higher elevation. Like I'm living a lot in the astral right now. Like I can, you know, I'm working in that realm. Like I'm there with my clients when I'm creating with them. The programs I'm creating are in the 5D. It's about working with energy that is in your field, energy that is galactically outside of the universe, energy that is on Earth that is in a higher frequency. It's just learning how to create from a different reality.
Okay. While
you're in the physical body too, and then your physical body moves into that reality as well.
Okay.
But it's hard. It's not, it's just not like one day you like wake up and you're in the 5D. Like it's a lot.
You're there forever. Like I made it to the 5D and I get to stay here forever.
Yeah, and I feel like some days I'm in the 5D a lot, and then some days I'm like stuck in the fucking 3D, like with my thoughts and the way I'm thinking, and then like I have to be cautious of what I'm taking in, who I'm communicating with, who I'm connecting with. I don't want to be in that.
I must be in the 2D.
Oh snap. Let's see, let's catch up on some of these comments here because the comments are coming in, so we're trying to keep up. My boy Blake in the building, he said he delivered me out of Shuel. I'm gonna pronounce that wrong, but Blake's in the building. While he's the one who asked about the 5D. Mike Alfred E. Newman Vieira said maybe you could come back to balance things. People who understand might now be released, but instead take a guide role. So I think he's saying maybe those are the guardians, people who, do extend. Now, when you talk about, let me make sure there's no more before we keep going. Lindsay said, laugh out loud. So when you talk about ascension, right? Are we extending as humans, or is it like poof, everybody who's awake and aware is ascending and everybody else is like, where you motherfuckers going? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or is everybody on the bus? Like, is it going to be an event where as humans we extend, or is it going to be like a separation event?
I think that people are already separating now.
Yes.
I think that people are already like choosing their path now. Like, are you going to go and stay in the 3D and just follow and be sheep? Or are you going to actually do the work, not do the easy, quote unquote, people like go down that other path because they think it's easier, when in actuality it will get harder. I think that it's just like people are already separating now. Like there's going to, and I feel like it's going to continue to separate. I also don't just think like, I don't think that humans are going to fully ascend in our lifetime. I literally think it's going to take probably another 800 to 900 years for us to fully ascend. So
now, all right, so I have to ask you this because someone asked me this, and my initial answer, someone was like, hey, listen, there's a lot going on in the world, man. Are we going to be okay? And I'm like, yeah, man, we're going to be good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everything always works out. You know what I mean? Then as shit started to play out, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. These motherfuckers might get away with what they're trying to do here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, when we talk about ascension and stuff like that, is it like, where are you at personally with all the work you do? Is it like, all right, listen, ascension is going to happen. Those who are ready are going to go, or is it like, hey, listen, whatever plan these people got is actually might be working a little bit.
No, I don't think that they're working. And I got caught up in that thought, last year for a little while. I'm like, fuck, are we losing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that anything can fuck up what we're doing. And I think that everyone's going to be ascending at their own rate. I don't think, I think that, well, I feel, this is my opinion because nobody really knows.
Nobody knows, yeah, for sure.
I feel like that some people are going to get caught up in the 3D and they're going to have to pass, and then they're going to have to reincarnate and like kind of do the whole thing over again, and then they may have some of their ascension, and it takes lifetimes. And this is what I tell my clients, because I have a lot of people in my groups lately. They've been complaining like, my abilities aren't working, or I'm not like where this person is or where this person is. And I'm like, look, I'm like, for like, people don't understand that the higher you go, the harder it gets. You know, the more challenging it gets when you're in that higher elevation. It doesn't get easier. The rewards are better. The miracles they just come out of nowhere. You know, like a lot of great things happen, but when it's hard because it's like you really have to move through. You really have to have faith. You really have to trust in yourself and in the divine. So everyone's on their own journey with this. There is no like, I don't think something's gonna happen where we're all just gonna wake up and be in light bodies. Like, I don't believe that shit.
Yeah.
Also, too, you have to think, like, with our DNA, what we have 2-strand DNA now. Supposedly, we have 10-strand DNA when it's fully activated.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Think about how long that's gonna take for us to evolve into that.
Yep. And all those amino acids to actually kick in.
Yeah. Yeah, and like a lot of it has to do with the way we think, the way we feel, the energies that we connect with. You know,
Also being handicapped through the food industry, and a lot of people don't understand that. Not even only the food industry, but we're being handicapped through our technology. You know what I mean? Like all this great technology, it's definitely causing a disturbance in the natural energy that's here on this planet. And not only that, like I read something the other day, right? And not the other day, this was like a few months back. But basically what this dude was saying, he was like, one of the biggest lies that we're being told is that people are getting cancers and all these illnesses through the food they're eating solely. But he was like, there's a lot of people who eat healthy their entire life and still get cancer and die. And the reason being is the majority of the cancers and abnormalities that we're facing in our body is from the bullshit that's passing through us all day long.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Like all that shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't, you know, they poison the food, they poison the water, they poison everything, they poison our minds. Like, you know, I know people that eat like shit. I mean, they don't eat the best, and they're amazing channelers, and they're really connected to themselves, and they know what they want in life, and they're doing their purpose work, and they're fine. And then I know people that, you know, they do all the little things of like making sure that they eat right all the time, and they have their little shakes and they do whatever the fuck, and they're not fine. They have health problems. I feel like overall it really has to do with the energy and the frequency that you vibrate with on a higher level. I mean, you can eat and smoke cigarettes and do that, like, and still be like, it's going to affect it at some level. But I even noticed with me, like when I do cleanses, a lot of people like, I feel great when I do a cleanse. Like when I do cleanses, when I don't eat, my energy is so high, I get like 4 hours of sleep. Like I literally need food to ground me. And I have to eat meat. Like I've tried to not eat meat, and it is so unhealthy for me. Like I was because I am up here all the time. So I need that to bring me back down. Or like I am like literally walking around like an alien, not even knowing like why I'm like, why the fuck am I human right now? You know, it's just like, so everyone's different too. I you know, not everyone's the same, but I feel like all those little things that they're trying to throw roadblocks at us so we don't get to that higher elevation. And I honestly feel like you can transmute the energy in anything.
Because like how you were saying earlier about frequencies.
Yeah, like I know how to do energy healing. Like if I'm traveling and I have to eat shitty food, like I will literally just Reiki it or like put high frequency energy in it and just set that. Yeah, it's good.
They said that all sickness in the body starts at a certain frequency. And I see like everything that it seems like everything is aimed at lowering our frequency.
Yeah.
And
I really think the thing that kills people is people living shitty lives that they hate. I think that's the number one killer. And that's what I've noticed in people when, you know, they're not healthy, is like they hate their spouse, they hate their job, they're living a lie. Like living a lie will kill you before anything else.
So your soul subconsciously wants to escape. Yeah. It's like, yo, you bullshit, man. Let me out of here.
I believe that.
For real.
Yeah, well, instead of 5G.
Yeah, no, that's what we talked about earlier. He also said that because Bob's been doing a lot of awakening work. He said, could you talk about crystals a little bit? Like what is the significance of crystals? Do they hold certain energies or something like that?
Yeah, so every crystal holds like a certain frequency, and it depends on like the geographic location and the makeup of it. And like I got some crystals here. Let's see what I got over here.
I didn't say the 5 I said 5G.
5G. I don't know anything about 5G.
Yeah. I thought about what you just said. I'm like, wait a minute, no, that's after the crystals.
Oh, okay.
5G,
You're talking about frequencies, and I was like, he said 5G, so that made me think about it too.
I want to talk about the 5G after though, but let's talk about the crystals. We got to talk about the 5G real quick.
So like this is a black tourmaline that I have.
Okay.
This is for protection. Black tourmaline is great for protecting your energy field against like psychic attack or just any dark energies. He just said I have a selenite. Selenite is like really high frequency, so it helps you connect with the angelic realm and spirit guides. And it's like a softer crystal too, but when you hold it, your frequency goes up. This will ground you. This will actually bring you back down. Not in like a low vibrational way, but in a way where you feel grounded and you feel more connected with your human body. So
Can I ask about gold? Because I noticed that a lot of ancients gold. What is the significance? I've done some research on it, but I want to know from your perspective, what is the significance of gold when it comes to energy and frequency?
Gold is the power of the sun. Gold is the light. Gold is protection too. I always wear gold and silver every day, and I won't wear any fake jewelry either. Like I have to wear gold or silver. But yeah, it was weird. One day I went into a past life regression, and it wasn't even a past life regression. They took me out of the earth, and I met this little alien being, and he was telling me all this information about gold and how the aliens have come here, and they kind of like they're hoarding the gold on the planet because it actually protects the frequency and energy field of the planet. I mean, this is stuff that I was connecting with. But yeah, gold is very powerful for protection, and it also raises your frequencies. I mean, it's one of the most powerful metals on the planet. Is it a metal or?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because I know that a lot of ancient stories talk about beings coming from out of this world here. For that specific reason, to mine gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To bring back to wherever they came from. You know what I mean? Let's catch up here. Oh, but he did say about the 5G. So yeah, you were right. So hold on, let me see. Conversation got deep, but listen, we could talk about that, but let's talk about 5G, and then we got to go to this comment because I think it could get deep, and then from there we'll phase out of the show because I don't want to keep you too long. I don't know what your schedule's like. You know what I mean? But I'll do a 4-hour podcast. You know what I mean? But yeah, do we want to talk about the 5G? You say you're not too familiar with the whole 5G deal.
I mean, the only thing I got about the 5G is like I don't really give a fuck because like I feel like I can block that too. I'm not afraid of all these putting out. It's just I feel like a lot of it is all up here too.
Okay. So it's having people succumb to the fear aspect of it.
Yeah, I'm sure the 5G blocks the higher vibration coming in, and I know it doesn't do anything good for us, but I feel like if you're really in tune with your power, a lot of these things can't affect you as much.
All right, are we ready to go a little bit deep, real quick? This could get a little deep, so we gotta see what they're talking about here. All right, I'm going to read a couple of these comments, and then we're going to talk about it real quick.
I'm trying to figure out which one's deep.
All right, it gets a little deep. My boy Blake said this. My boy Blake said, the creature is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. And then Wob said, so Jesus is not coming back. So I think we got to talk about the Christ energy.
Okay.
Because... Hold on, let's see if there's any more. Sometimes the job we didn't get is the cancer you avoided. Yeah, for real. So that's going back to the energy. Oh, my boy JB's in the building. Let's go. He's out in Hollywood, I think. That's what's up. All right, so my brother said get me on a live. LOL. All right, let me ask you this real quick. What is up with that? And I'll ask it in this way. Obviously, we have a world full of different religions. Every religion equally believes that theirs is the one, right? what is up with that? Like, you know what I mean? So for instance, obviously there's a higher power, there's a divine, there's a God, whatever name you want to put on it. How do we get into all of these splinter cells of belief? And then also
well, let me talk about that first.
Yeah,
about like, the saviors. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the saviors and the different stipulations.
That right there, and like, I have no beef with Jesus. I work with the Christ consciousness all the time. It's a very powerful energy. It's here. You know what I mean? Like, he's here. Whatever you want to call him. His energy is very powerful on the planet right now. Savior complex. That is a thing that will always keep humanity down. They're always looking for somebody to come and save them instead of doing the work themselves. I really believe that we have the power within us to save ourselves and the planet. That's what I believe. And I really feel like the whole aspect of us tuning in to the power within our DNA is what is going to save us. It's bringing that light, those light codes into our DNA. Nothing is coming to aliens. People think aliens are coming to save us. Some religious person is coming. You know, they think that people think that like Trump is going to save us. You know what I mean? Like people have that. People are always looking for a way out instead of doing the work themselves. They are always looking for somebody to come in and fix everything else. Just the same thing. It's like on a lower level, it's like you're going out and trying to find love so somebody can fix you and save you. It's the same thing. It's just on a bigger scale. It's a program that we live with, that we were programmed with since the beginning or probably the fall of Atlantis. That's when I feel like this shit started, where it's like, you don't have the power within you. You're weak. You can't connect to God on your own either. That's another thing with a lot of religion, is that you need to go through the church or you need to go through this system to really connect with God, and something is going to save you. You can't save yourself because all humans are X, and usually it has to do with anything negative and just low frequency.
Yes.
That's where that shit comes from.
Facts. So let me ask you this, because there's something powerful that you said that I think we have to expand on just a little bit. And that is you said the Christ consciousness is here on the planet. Now, what is the difference between when you go to church, you see Jesus, he's on a cross, and the Christ consciousness? Because it's, from everything I've learned about it, it's two different things.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, yeah.
To me it is. In my opinion, it is. Jesus, to me, is part of the church, organized religion. So, like, one of the things that Len Kasten talked about in that book is how Jesus, Christ energy, is from Pleiades star system. And it was brought here because there was too much paganism on the planet. And the thing with paganism is a lot of it revolves around these gods that, you know, they want things from humans, and it's not always of the light. They have more of their like own agenda. So essentially, Palladians or the High Council sent the Christ energy here, and it's a way for people to have like a direct connection with God instead of going through all the ritual and all these gods in these other realms that like want things from humans that aren't always for our development. It's for what they want. So, but what happened is of course the reptilians here, they took that over. They took that high frequency energy and they're, well, we're going to put it in the systems. And then Jesus became, you know, you really think about it, like I grew up Catholic, so we eat Jesus and we drink his blood. Again, cannibalism, Luciferian, that's what they do in their cults, you know? So they take that aspect of that energy, which is like a great energy. It's one of the most loving energies that anybody can work with. And they put it into this lower vibrational form. And the only way you can connect with it is through fear and through those lower frequencies of grief, guilt, depression. Like you connect with Jesus through your sins and all the bad things that you've done. So I don't think that Jesus is bad. And I just want to say this loud and clear. I don't think that Jesus is bad. I don't think that when you go to church, you're connecting with the bad Jesus. I just think that they took that energy and they created something out of it that's more fear-based. But if you like people that have no idea about this and they're going to church and they're connecting with Jesus and they're just all about pure love, they're going to get that Christ consciousness connection. But to me, also, the Christ consciousness is the full-on form of the energy, the high frequency, the energy of pure love, pure light, divine masculine and divine feminine. And Jesus is kind of just like I just like the Christ consciousness energy better because I feel like it's whole. It's full of the light, it's full of the love, and it's full of where that energy originally came from.
Now, would you say this? This is because this is something that. Well, let me not even get ahead of it. Would you then say that these different figures throughout history that we see in these different places of the earth are these individuals who just embodied the Christ consciousness at a higher, you know what I mean, in more of a powerful way than the average person did? Therefore, they stood out with that sort of, I guess, spiritual signature. Like when you hear about like all these people, all these different people all over the world, are these people that just embodied that consciousness and executed it on it a little bit more, powerfully than the average person?
I would say so. So you're talking about someone like Buddha or like someone like that?
Yeah, someone who people look at and say these are divine people. Like, are they all just people who embody that same energy, or is it just different stuff altogether?
I think it depends on who you're talking about, but I think there's a lot of them that embody the Christ consciousness. Yeah. And then I just think that there's other ascended masters that have walked the planet that embody energies that are on a higher frequency, but they're in a different ray of energy.
Got you. Mm-hmm. All right. So here we go. Right. Listen to this. It is now 9:10. Mm-hmm. Pass or dash, because I'll keep you another 20, or we can
go another 20. It's
20. All right. Yeah. All right. So Donnie Rhodes, man.
Yo.
I know you're super quiet over there. I'm taking up all your airtime, bro.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm actually just like learning. I'm like just listening, enjoying it.
Got you. So what have we covered already? Let's kind of get somewhere else with the conversation. We've covered a whole lot of shit, a whole lot of different stuff, right? Yeah. Where do we like go from here? Because we did cover a lot of stuff.
I don't know.
We covered a lot.
Yeah. Where do we go? Or what words would you have for the people when we talk about moving forward? Because obviously now the situation that we're in, I don't want to get political because I'm not gonna. But what I do want to point out is that shit is not moving in the right direction. It's almost like we're going.
See, but I feel like, all right, so like I have a friend who's like a super Trumper, and like he was like devastated when all this shit happened, and I was like, look. I was like, because to me, seeing someone like Biden in office, I'm like, oh, great, a pedophile back in the White House. Like, that's what I think. You know what I mean? Like, I go there. I go to the Luciferian cults, like the satanic rituals. Like, that's who that energy is. I was like, this is a show. There's shit going on behind the scenes that we aren't seeing. I don't feel we're going in the wrong direction at all. Okay. What I do feel is that humans need to learn some lessons about the shit that's really going on this planet.
So this is it. So this is what you would consider to be, because somebody told me something one time. They said, yo, every once in a while you need a disturbance. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Every once in a while you need a storm.
Yeah.
So I also subscribe to like, yo, what we're seeing is a disturbance that we needed. Shake motherfuckers up. Like, hey, listen, wake up. You know what I mean? Like a quick shake. Hey, wake up.
Yep. And
whoever took the call was like, wait a minute. Because I know a lot of people that weren't even thinking about anything of this nature who are now like, hey, like, oh, did you see this? Oh, I'm feeling this. Or what about that? And I'm like, oh, damn, they did a light switch, like from, you know what I mean? Off to on, like overnight type of thing. Mm-hmm. So this definitely could be the disturbance that we need. One thing, though, actually, you know what? You take the conversation. What you want to talk about, Ashley? Because I want to talk about.
All right, I want to talk about illusions because I feel like that is very important right now. So there's a lot of illusions that are going on in this reality right now. So you're like, we're going in the wrong direction. People need to learn to tap in and go inward in order to feel what's really going on. Because I don't feel like we're going in the wrong direction. And I was saying this to my clients the other day about the frustration of like, they feel like they can't channel in, they can't connect, or they're not seeing things, or they're not feeling things, and this and that. I feel like a lot of what's going on is we're being protected right now. So there's literally a galactic war going on between the light and the dark. In this realm, obviously, we see some of it, and then the astral realm. And what's happening is we're being blocked from seeing a lot of things because God is protecting it. And that's what I told them in a voice memo the other day. I'm like, you're not blocked. Your abilities, there's nothing wrong with your abilities. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You need to think about it sometimes, though. You're being protected when you don't know everything. God is protecting you. God is protecting that energy so that it can come forth. And a lot of times it comes forth when you least expect it. You know, miracles happen when we least expect it. Yeah. So a lot of people thought that all this shit was going to go down and there was going to be these mass arrests and like, yay, finally people were going to see shit. Listen, we're not going to know when shit's really going to go down because it's being protected. You have to think of it like that. Like, you know, the divine knows better than we do. You have to think of war tactics too. Like, you're not going to know when there's going to be an attack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what makes it an attack.
Whatever. Yeah. Facts.
So right now, there's a lot of illusions being created to protect us. And then there's also a lot of illusions being created to bring us down. Right. So that's the whole battle. That's why I'm saying, like, we really need to go inward. We really need to tap in. We really need to trust in ourselves and the decisions that we're making for ourselves, and knowing that, you know, you need to. Another thing with people is people don't know anything about them fucking selves. Like that's the biggest problem I notice with people is they don't know shit about who they are. When you don't know shit about who you are, that's when you get led in the wrong direction. You know, that's when you begin to follow that dark energy because you don't know yourself. Yep. I feel like if I were to leave any message from today's show is like really get to fucking know yourself and stop lying to yourself, because people lie to themselves too goddamn much. If you're in an unhappy relationship, you're in an unhappy job, you're not happy with yourself, you're not happy what you're doing with your life. Like if you're waking up every day and you're like, damn, my life sucks, it means you need to change your life. Means you need to look at everything in your life. Do you have friends that are good to you? You know what I mean? Do you feel fulfilled? People don't understand the aspect of fulfillment. And if you don't feel any sense of fulfillment, how are you going to connect with the divine? Because the divine is full of light, full of love, full of life, you know? So while we're in this like weird period on this planet, I feel like it's going to last for another 3 or 4 years at least, you know, where things are going to feel off. It's, you know, you're going to question yourself a lot. You're going to question, like, you know, if you're doing, like I say, like the light work, if you're like bringing the truth onto the planet, you also got to think too, you know, a lot of people are getting censored now, and it feels like we're losing. I just watched the movie on Netflix with, oh God, what was her name? The singer. Shit. She was the black singer. It was a new movie. Why am I forgetting her name right now? On Hulu.
Oh.
On Hulu.
Oh, yeah.
Hulu. I don't even know.
It was about like, it was in the past, right?
Yeah.
It's history, like, yeah. I just saw the commercial for that.
Shit.
You gotta make me log into my Hulu real quick.
The song about black people getting lynched, and then the government.
What the hell's her name?
Billie Holiday. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
So, right. So watching that movie, they kept trying to censor her. They were fucking with her life. Like they were destroying her life. She felt like she could never, like everything in her life was just kind of like a mess. Like the movie was really good, but she was speaking the truth. You know what I mean? Like she paved a way for people to speak the truth, and she didn't even really see the results of it in her lifetime. Like we also have to think like that. Like sometimes you're not going to see all the results of everything that you're doing in this lifetime. You are paving the way for the future. You're doing it for our children. You're doing it for your children, so your whatever the fuck. You know, you just have to think of things like that too. I feel like we get so caught up in that instant gratification.
Facts.
That we're like, it's not working. It's not working.
Yeah.
Everything that we're doing now to wake people up, to speak the truth, to open these new doors, like to pave that way, it takes time. Yeah. And trust me, I am the most fucking impatient person ever. And like when I watched that movie, I was like, yeah, you know, like she made a huge difference.
Yep. And it wasn't some instant. Mm-hmm. We live in the instant. Like anything that you want, you can get right now. There's no waiting for anything.
Right. You know, and when you don't get it, you feel like shit.
Exactly.
You know, and that's part of the programming too, is like, see, what you're doing isn't working. Nobody gives a fuck. So just shut up and don't even do it. Or like, you know, being an entrepreneur, like right now I'm in a really weird place with my business. Like I left my old space. I'm looking for a new space. And it's just like, you know, it's a journey. You know what I mean? Like when you're an entrepreneur, you have to have patience. Like you have to just trust and know that everything is going to work out. And it doesn't always come exactly when you want it. So I feel like that's the thing with humans. It's like a lot of us are awake, really awake, not just woke. We want the world to be awake right now. You know what I mean? Like we want everything to happen right now. I've known about mass arrest since I was 15 or 16. I'm 35. I've been waiting for that shit for decades. You know what I mean? Like
I remember being like fucking, you know, like 13 years old reading fucking Behold the Pale White Horse.
Yeah.
Cooper. And like now when people, it's like, you know, people are like, oh, this and that. I'm like, bro, like I've been on this shit for like 25 years, my guy. Like,
how long have you been waiting? Like, you know, it felt really close. Like we thought something was going to happen. We were like,
here we go.
This is it. You know what I mean? I still felt, because there was too much information out, that it wasn't going to happen. I was like, there's way too much information out for that shit to go down right now. So you just have to like stay the course, even though sometimes it feels like it's not working. Just know that it is. And what we're doing is so important for the planet right now. Just speaking the truth is just, you know, using our voices is so important.
Yeah. And definitely, and that's one thing I would say too, is like, yo, for anybody watching this who's in speaking the truth, like now, I won't even say now more than ever, because it's always been the same, but continue to speak the truth. You know what I mean? Let motherfuckers silence you or bully you into, you know, not speaking the truth, because the world needs the truth right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know, that's the thing, is they're trying to, like, I even feel like the whole thing with the masks is just like, shut up.
Oh my God.
Submissive. You know?
I got to say something about this mask shit, because I was telling somebody this the other day, and I don't even think a lot of people caught this, but just think about this. Prior to COVID coming out, like before they, you know, I would say before they released it, I want the video to get blocked, but before COVID came out, right? On Snapchat, what was the filters everybody was using? The damn mask. Like they were getting people ready.
Really?
Yeah, like think about it. Snapchat, everybody was using the filter with the mask on it. You know what I mean? And this is like 5 to 6 months before COVID hit.
Wow.
So it was like, yo, they were laying the groundwork to get people psychologically ready for this mask bullshit. And now, you know what I mean? Now it's here, but.
And that's a part of the Luciferian cult too, is they always cover their faces. They always cover their mouths in ritual. Mm-hmm. Man, everything they do is like out there, and it's like they're trying to project it on us. They're trying to put that shit on us, and you know, it's just, and people don't know. When you talk about it, they're like, "Oh, you're crazy," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, you know, I don't know, man. You'll find out the hard way one day." Yeah. I feel like that people that think that they're, like that people that follow blindly, the path always looks easier. You know, it always looks more inviting when you go down that. Like everyone's going down this path. It just looks rocky. It looks like prettier. It looks nicer. But then when you start to go down that path, it gets really fucking dark. And then you're never going to find your way back. It's going to be harder for you to find your way back from that path than when you go down the other path. You're paving your own way. It's going to be a little rough, but I'm telling you, the rewards are always better. And I feel like right now it's just so important for us to understand who we are in our hearts. It's going inward.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm looking to you speak, right?
Hmm?
And that's what I'm catching. I'm catching downloads as you're speaking, right? But earlier I talked about how I felt like when 2020 hit, there were some downloads that were readily available or that we were supposed to receive that I feel like some people could have missed theirs. Um, what are some of the things, or have you given any thoughts, or maybe what are some of the downloads that are going to be important for us moving like forward into this, like, next 10, next 20, next 30? Like, what is the new energy on the planet that is here to progress us?
So one of the big things that I've been channeling a lot about is the divine king and divine queen energy.
Mm.
And it is these high frequency, like 5D relationships that are coming in that are teaching us a lot about partnership as opposed to the old paradigm, which is, a lot of trauma in relationships, codependency. So I feel like all the old relationships, the old paradigm of relationships is based off of codependency, which is like always people pulling from each other, taking from each other. I was saying this to one of my friends the other day. I'm like, people don't know how to fucking be supportive. I realize that is like the biggest problem in relationships, even friendships, is people don't understand support. People think support is telling you all the bad and all the negative things you did and why you got yourself in that fucked up situation. Support literally means you support. When somebody is down, you pull them up and you help them see a different perspective as to why things are going to be better, and you help them look at all the negative in a positive manner. This is what relationships are turning into if you're going towards that energy. And with the divine king and queen, they serve each other. They balance out each other. They build together. That's one of the big things that I see with these relationships is that they're in partnerships where they're creating for this energy on the new earth for the higher frequency. So a lot of entrepreneur energy in these relationships, creating together, and also the sexual energy is just at a different dynamic. It is not something that will just phase out. It is actually something that will grow stronger as the love grows stronger in the relationship.
Got you. You said yeah, so when you were talking about how they're going to build together, I think for me personally, what I was witnessing is that there was an energy of competition with men and women.
Yeah.
It should be an energy like men and women are designed to complement each other because they interconnect in ways that complements the whole. You know what I mean? So yeah, when you said that, that's what came up for me because I'm like, yeah, like I feel like when we were in that competitive mode, it was very destructive and by design. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once we get to a place of complimenting each other, then we could be everything that we were designed to be. And then I was having this conversation the other day, and I did a class on it as well. How you talked about the sexual energy. I think with the sexual energy, the intimacy aspect of it was pulled away. You know what I mean? So people were being sexual without intimacy. They weren't reaching spiritual heights that their sex is in designed to take you to. You know what I mean? So I think with the return of intimacy, like how you said, there'll be sexual connections that will stand the test of time and not lose its luster because it lacks intimacy. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And like one of the things I channeled about that was that there's so when I talk about the parasites and attachment, so like there's the succubus and incubus energy. Like succubus is attached to women or female energy, and then incubus male. And when I was connecting with the sexual energy with the king and queen and how they're gonna it's going to be that higher elevation. So it's kind of like these advanced souls coming together and creating this divine union and this sacred sexual union. But what I noticed, or what they were telling me, is that when a lot started shifting with the humans and the DNA, is that the lower vibrational energies brought in these attachments, like the incubus and succubus that attach to people. So when they're going to look and feel for that fulfillment, they're actually passing the entities along when they're connected with each other on that level. Yeah. And then it killed that divine union.
So it's like sexually transmitted demons.
Yeah, exactly. And what it did is it took away the power within our sex practice, because sex is the most powerful magical energy that you can work with if it's pure.
Yeah, they said sex is the closest that we could get to God.
Right. With these energies coming in, the divine king and queen and the unions, these people that are in this type of relationship are actually going to activate other people, and it's just by being around them.
Yep.
So before, a lot of time, like in ancient Egypt, things like that, they had to be in like a sexual kind of ceremony to activate the people. But this time around, it's just going to be because they're so connected on that level, they're going to lead by example. Like, look at this couple. They're building together. Look at how they connect with each other. Look at how they work through their problems. Look at their sexual connection to each other. It's not lust. It's real love, but it brings them to a higher elevation. And this is what I see as coming in for people that are actually doing the work. That's why I'm not like, and I received all of this after I left my ex-fiance. Like, I was like, okay, so I have a king energy coming to me. You know, so I'm not going to fuck that up by just allowing anybody all up in me, or even like in my energy field. Yeah. Like, you know, like even when you're communicating with people on that level, when they're trying to get with you on that level, they're still connecting with you. So
there's still an exchange happening.
Right. Right. It's like people don't want to do that, though. They don't want to be patient. They don't want to do the inner work on themselves. They don't want to connect with themselves, and they just want to go out and get laid. And then you're just passing along all this energy. Not to mention you're taking in that person's energy, and then it's like trauma laid on top of trauma, laid on top of trauma.
Before you know it, you're 20 different people. You can't understand like what is wrong with me. Why am I all over the place? It's because you're being pulled in so many different directions by all the energies you let inside your body.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like one of the biggest downloads that I've had coming in for the past like year. I would say, I started channeling that. I started channeling into that last year, but it really started coming in heavy around December. The end of December is when I started getting a lot more detail about it and what it's actually going to do. And it actually connects a lot with the Christ consciousness and Mary Magdalene energy.
Wait, no, you can't just say Mary Magdalene energy and then not explain what it is, because then I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna be saying that I'm like, she said Mary, what is that? So
Mary Magdalene was supposedly married to Jesus.
Yes. Yep.
But the church said that she was a prostitute and kind of like degraded that energy. But I work with Mary Magdalene a lot, and she carries like that high vibrational, like that high frequency divine feminine. She also carries the divine masculine very strongly. But Jesus and Mary had that sexual union together, like that sacred sexual union together.
Okay.
But the church lied about it. They don't want us knowing about it, because if we looked at sex in that manner and we saw after that, forget it. There's no way. And I also channeled that people who carry the divine king and queen union, when they connect, they're going to be so protected that nothing can sabotage it. The only thing that can sabotage it is their relationship with each other. Like, they have to work through certain things, but outside interference isn't going to be able to get to that, because it's going to be very powerful.
Gotcha.
That's one of the biggest downloads. The other one is the illusions being created with the AI energy, and then the illusions being created in this reality to make us think that we're losing or what you're doing isn't working. So a lot of that energy coming in as far as trying to deter humans from doing their light work.
So all right, so we're moving forward. We know that sexual energy, kings and queen union, where they're obviously complementing each other and growing in that sense. Also having the discernment to realize what's an illusion, what's real, what's fake.
Yes.
Moving forward.
That's a crazy way to look at it.
Because that encompasses everything I think that we I didn't want to say struggle with, but I would say everything that we tend to be up against as a whole. Like, you know what I mean? When you look at anyone's situation where there appears to be some struggle or some conflict or some confusion, they're usually tied to one of those things. Like, you know what I mean? Either there's some illusion that they're living into, right? Or they're just out of whack when it comes to their connectivity with someone of the opposite sex. You know what I mean? Or someone who they're forming a union with. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Donnie, you've been quiet for an hour and a half, my guy.
Dude, you're out of my limit here. you're cracking into information I have no idea what we're talking about.
But it was a good show.
Oh,
You got-
absolutely. I
You're
was sitting
still
here
getting
learning the whole time.
regardless. So you're sitting here listening, and then
Exactly.
you're
Yep.
gonna be
I'm
like,
just
"Oh,
learning.
that's what we're talking about." You know what I mean?
But next
I had the basics of everything you guys were talking about. I was just learning more about the topic. So like I don't really listen to that. I haven't really read it much into that. So I was just kind of enjoying the show and learning myself.
Nice. Well, hey, listen, it's 9:33, so I kept you an hour and a half.
Mhm.
We could go another hour and a half,
Yeah.
but I'm just playing. Yeah, no, we'll
I'll
go
come
ahead.
back on again.
Yeah, for sure. And it was a great show. I definitely enjoyed having you. Conversation was amazing. Conversation was deep. The comments on the episode, hold on, let me just go take a look, because we were getting so many comments. Yo, everybody who was commenting, we definitely appreciate it. We'll go back through and kind of catch up on the comments with you guys, but we couldn't keep up with all of them as it was coming in. But sheesh, we got a lot of comments on the show, so that's good. Everybody was in here having a good time and getting some information and everything. So Ashley, how can the people connect with you? How can they learn even more about the work that you do? And are you currently taking clients?
Yes, I am taking clients remotely right now. So you can go on the divinesavage.com. I have a lot of online courses on there. And also all my social media links are on there as well.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley V, guys, let's go. Game time. All right, so that's it for tonight. We definitely appreciate all you guys tuning in. Again, any further questions, put them in the comments. We'll catch up on the comments. Everybody have a powerful week. We'll be back next Monday, 8 o'clock for the Uncut Show, episode 6. And yeah, everybody have a good night.